Knowing what to say and when to say it is one of the best qualities to have as an NFL head coach. And Dan Campbell's most recent statement is amazingly powerful. We're going to talk about it in today's episode, folks, so stay tuned.
We used to be a team no one respected. We used to be a team no one feared. That was then. This is now.
First victory of the year on the line. Goff's got it. Back, looks, throws, end zone. Yes! Caught!
You know who we are.
10-5, end zone, touchdown, Detroit Lions.
And you know where to find us. We won't be far. We'll be on your front porch waiting for you. We are the New Era Lions. And
we are driven by Detroit.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and as always, we're diving in right now. But before we dive just on in, I just again want to say thank you all to my loyal fans and subscribers for everything that you do. Really means the world to me that I have you guys. And to those that are tuning into my show for the very first time, again, thank you all for devoting some of your time to decide and watch my channel for the first time. I hope you enjoy the content. But even more so, I hope to earn your subscription if I've earned and deserved it. And with that having been said, I just want to say to everybody, hope you're having a blessed day. God bless, and let's get into the show here. So, here's the thing, folks. I'm not going to go off of a script for this one. I don't need to. This is one of those episodes where it's just like, listen, I'm talking to you guys as if I would be talking to other people and just having a conversation with y'all. Because to me, when we think about this conversation, we think about this topic, Dan Campbell is a man that, in my ability, one of his best qualities, one of his best traits, his best features, is his ability to communicate and read a room and understand what is going on in that room. Because I think, honestly, one of the best things that makes Dan Campbell a great leader is his ability to communicate. He communicates straightforward. He's not too harsh. He's not too soft. He knows exactly how to communicate to get a point across. And at the same time, I mean, the man, like I've said before, he's a walking soundbite machine. The man just knows how to say things, when to say things, and what to say. So for me, I always love it when Dan Campbell has a quote that I think really has a point to it that's really got a great statement to it. Now, why are we talking about it in this particular episode? Well, the reason why we're talking about it is because I would say at least over the last week and a half, there's been a lot of things that have been said about what Dan Campbell has said. What am I specifically referring to here? If you go back to after the NFC Conference Championship game, and the very next day, the very next morning rather, Dan Campbell and the Lions, they hold their post-game press conference, and Dan Campbell is talking about how, he told the guys that, hey, this might have been our one and only shot to get to the NFC Conference Championship game. This might have been our one and only shot to get to a Super Bowl. And some people kind of took that as, well, Dan Campbell's kind of being a little too honest there, because it's like, listen, yeah, we know that this might have been your only shot, Detroit. We know this might have been our only shot to get there, but it's like, listen, this is a very, very talented team. It's a young team. The Lions should be back. Now, understand what I'm saying here. I know for a fact the reason why Dan Campbell was saying that. He was saying it because of the fact it's like, listen, this is a very, very hard business. You are going to be challenged. You're constantly going to be pressed. You're constantly going to have to face and deal with things that are going to make your job difficult. And it's like, listen, you get to the conference championship game, you've done something very, very special, because that's not something that every team does. There's only 4 teams that ever get to a conference championship game on any given year. So it's like, you do that, you have done a very, very special thing that you should be very proud of. But it's like, to try and do that again is even much more difficult, because now you got to run the gauntlet again. You got to go through all the other teams that have tried to improve over the previous year. So yeah, that might have been the Lions' only shot. And what I believe Dan Campbell was trying to say was like, listen, it's going to be that much more difficult next year. Everybody knows who and what we are. And like he said, there's no hiding. The Lions are out on the map. We're out on the stage. Everybody knows who we are, and they're not going to give us, the benefit of the doubt anymore. It's like, listen, we're going to come straight in. We're going to play the Lions like they're a really great team because, well, they are. So it's like, okay, yeah, trying to keep all those things in consideration. And I know for some Lions fans, they kind of had a little bit of a, I wouldn't say a problem with what Dan Campbell said, because it was the truth, but it's like, dude, that's not exactly what we wanted to hear, but it's like, listen, it's what we needed to hear, because for me, it's like, I don't like people that try and sugarcoat things. It's like, tell it to me straight. It's It's like, don't leave me out in the open to potentially get blindsided by something. Tell it to me straight so that way it's like, okay, do I know exactly what I'm potentially going to be expecting? It's like, listen, tell it to me straight so that way I at least know what I can expect or not expect. Don't just leave me out there to potentially get blindsided. However, though, Dan Campbell, I think, realized that what he said, while it was honest, it was truthful, and that it was a reflection of how he was feeling at the time, because it's like, listen, you lose a conference championship game, that's going to hurt. I mean, it hurt me as a fan. I can only imagine what it felt like for the players and Dan Campbell. It's like, listen, you've gone on this magical, wonderful, stupendous ride to get all the way to the conference championship game. You're one game away from the Super Bowl, and you lose by 3 points. Yeah, that's gonna sting. That is gonna hurt like you know what. So it's like, yeah, I can imagine how Dan Campbell was feeling. He was definitely telling the truth, but the feeling factor was probably in there because it's like, man, this sucks, it hurts, and it's like, I gotta be honest and truthful about it. But now what is Dan Campbell saying? Well, according to Aiden Hutchinson, just after, it was either just before, I think, the awards ceremony that happened a day or two ago, Aiden Hutchinson said that at the end of the year meeting for the Detroit Lions, because usually how football teams operate, they have a beginning of the year ceremony or a beginning of the year meeting where it's like, hey, this is what we're going to lay out, this is what we expect for while we're here, and what our plans and goals are for the year. And then they have an end of the year meeting where it's like, okay, thank you all for everything that you've done. We're gonna talk about what we accomplished, what we liked, what we didn't like, what we expect for you guys to do in the offseason, blah, 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 blah. Well, apparently, according to Aiden Hutchinson, at the end of the year meeting, Dan Campbell got up there and he was like, okay, I want us to go to the Super Bowl. According to Aiden Hutchinson, he said, I know we're going to the Super Bowl. We are going to the Super Bowl in 2024. He's like, screw it, I don't care. We are going to the Super Bowl in 2024. Now, I know for some people that's going to be like, well, wait a minute, David. How in the thunder does Dan Campbell go from, oh, this might have been our only shot to now it's, oh, we're going to the Super Bowl in 2024? Well, again, understand what I'm saying here, and Aiden Hutchinson said this too. You have to feel and understand what Dan Campbell was going through in those moments. It's like, yes, he's being honest with the players. Like, yeah, this might have been our only shot. But it's like, okay, you have to understand the room. You have to understand what other people are feeling at the time. They're going to be like, yeah, we're kind of down. We're kind of sad. We're kind of a little upset that we're not going. So it's like, do you honestly think Dan Campbell would have stood in the middle of the locker room and said, oh, yeah, we're going to the Super Bowl next year? Not exactly the appropriate time or place to say that. It's like, yeah, it's kind of a little bit of a melancholy moment. It's kind of a little bit of a sad moment. You're not going to be all proud and boisterous after you just lost a game. But you have to understand something about Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell never says something that he does not mean. And if we know one thing about Dan Campbell, he has not said something that has not yet become true. Think about that one, folks. Anything that has come out of Dan Campbell's mouth virtually, it has come to pass. That ought to be a great source of comfort for the Detroit Lions fans, for the Detroit Lions faithful, and for the team. It's like, listen, if he says we're going to the Super Bowl in 2024, I 100% believe it. I 1,000% believe it. I know there's no such thing as that, but I still believe it. My point of the matter is this. If Dan Campbell thinks that we are going to the Super Bowl, then I 100% believe that it's going to happen. Because you have to understand who Dan Campbell is. You have to understand how this team reacts to when he puts stuff out there like that. It is an energizer bunny. Dan Campbell provides that energy. He provides that fire. He provides that spark that gets players that want to do things. And Aiden Hutchinson himself said it. He's like, listen, after we heard that from Dan Campbell, we're like, yeah, let's put the strap, let's strap the pads back on. Let's put the helmet back on. Let's go back out and play again. It's like, that's what Dan Campbell does. And Dan Campbell understood that it's like, listen, I can't let this season end this way. I can't let these players go into the offseason feeling like this. I have to let them know that, hey, just because I said this might have been our only shot, it's, again, take a look at that operative word, might be. He did not say it is our only shot. He did not say that it will be our only shot. He said it might be. What it means is the Lions have to get back to work, which is exactly something we know the Lions are very good at. We know that Dan Campbell's very good at. He has no problem with working hard, and the players have no problem working hard. And I can guarantee you this. The Lions are going to put even more offseason work in. They're going to come back even more razor focused. They are going to come back with a vengeance. They're going to come back saying, okay, We know we're this good of a team. We know we can get back here. We know we can get to a Super Bowl. That's going to be our focus. That's going to be our goal. That's going to be our mindset. And I can guarantee you that is all these Lions are going to be thinking about this offseason while they're lifting weights, they're doing their cardio, they're reading their playbooks, they're getting up to speed on everything. They're just going to be like, Super Bowl or bust, Super Bowl or bust, Super Bowl or bust. Because, like, listen, your goal is the Super Bowl, Detroit. Your goal is the Super Bowl. It's like, listen, you get to one game away, yeah, the Super Bowl is your goal. And I'm telling you this right now, Dan Campbell's words, it put the NFL on notice. Because I'm telling you this right now, the NFL, while they have recognized that the Lions are a team to reckon with, I can guarantee you this. When Dan Campbell sets marching orders and he has this team razor focused and they are focused on nothing but winning, now you put a focus of, okay, not only are we just winning, we're getting to the Super Bowl. That is going to make this a very, very, very difficult team to try and stop and play with. Because it's going to be like, okay, here, this team, they don't care who they're playing. Not even more so than what it was in the past. It's like, listen, all we see is somebody that's in our way, and we are bulldozing right through you. We are winning games, and we are going to the Super Bowl. Dare you to stop us, because it's going to be hard as hell. That's why I'm saying Dan Campbell's message is powerful. It literally set the spark, it set the fire for these players going into the NFL offseason, and now they have all the motivation, they have all the focus, they have everything that they need to be like, okay, offseason, we're getting right back into work. We're coming back in the spring, and we're going to get to work. We're going to come into the training camp. We're going to come into the mini camps, and we are just going to be literally razor focused, and that is going to be our mantra, Super Bowl or bust. So, that's why I'm saying what I'm saying. Very, very short video, folks, but it's a very powerful video based off of a very powerful statement by Dan Campbell. And I cannot wait until 2024 starts for the NFL season, because I'm telling you this right now, I think we're in for something that's even more special than what we saw this year. I 100% believe it. But anyway, folks, having said that, not going to dilly-dally, not going to draw this out any longer, so I just want to say thank you all for watching another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. If you like what you saw, by all means, I highly encourage y'all to watch the next episode. Also encourage y'all to do one of these three things: like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If by chance you subscribed in the past and you forgot to do so at the time, or you just subscribed and not had a chance to do so yet, please, 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 again, I want to encourage y'all to subscribe, but make sure after you do so, you turn on that bell notification icon as well, so that way you never miss any more content. Also encourage y'all to please share the content with your Lions friends and family members. Share it here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it anywhere and everywhere you can with everybody and anybody that you can. Please, the more we share it, the better the channel grows, the better the channel spreads, and the better the channel does. And with that being said, everybody, I just want to again say thank you all for devoting some time to watching the content. Thank you all for everything that you do. If I just gained your subscription, welcome to the MCM family. If I still have not gained it, hopefully you'll come on back and I'll get another chance to do so. But until that time, I just want to say to everybody, God bless, and I'll see you all in the next episode.